Depression is a serious problem for many people. Everybody gets sad at times, and depression is a natural response to devastating and painful events in our life, like the death of a loved one or the breakup of a marriage. It's when depression begins to interfere with our lives that it becomes a problem which ought to be dealt with. This video will teach you about depression, what it is, how it is treated, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Let's go to the whiteboard to learn a little more about depression.
Feelings of sadness or just feeling empty, feeling hopeless, anxious, guilty, overwhelmed, loss of interest in favorite activities, feeling tired, fatigued, or exhausted, not being able to sleep or sleeping too much, overeating or not wanting to eat at all, wanting to socially isolate and not be around other people, feeling irritable, and thoughts of suicide.
My depression was pretty bad. There were a lot of mornings where I didn't even feel like getting out of bed. What was the point? Everything seemed pretty hopeless, and I just couldn't seem to get myself motivated at all. Different friends would try to cheer me up, but honestly, I really didn't want to be around people at all. I started shutting myself off from everybody. This was a pretty bleak time in my life.
There can be any number of causes for depression. Some of the more common causes for depression are life events. Maybe you've lost your job, maybe you've suffered the breakup of a marriage, or maybe some devastating event has happened in your life recently. Grief, losing a loved one, often entails going through some form of depression. Stress. Sometimes life just becomes way too hectic and overwhelming, and this type of stress can trigger depression. Genetics. Some people are more likely to suffer from depression simply because of their genetic makeup. If your parents or other family members suffer from depression, the odds are greater that you will also experience depression. Early childhood trauma. Being abused as a child in any way, sexually, physically, or verbally, will often lead to depression later in life. Negative thinking patterns. Sometimes the ways in which we think can cause us to be more likely to be depressed. Sometimes low self-esteem can be a culprit.
I just felt empty all the time. I felt like I was worthless and that my life was really never going to get any better. And I didn't like me very much. And I felt like if anyone really knew me, they wouldn't like me either.
Fortunately, most types of depression can be successfully treated. There are several options for treating depression, such as medicine, therapy, learning new ways to think, lifestyle changes, and self-help techniques. Patterns that cause or add to your depression and teach you how to retrain your brain to think in more positive ways. Making lifestyle changes is also something which can dramatically help to alleviate your depression. It's been found that getting more exercise, more sunshine, having fun, and eating better all have serious benefits.
Seeking help from your doctor or another professional is always a wise choice. Your doctor may be able to treat your depression through medication, and therapy can also help. Even if your doctor prescribes medication for your depression, it can be very helpful to supplement this with coping skills. One skill which has shown amazing results is to change how you think.
Interrupt the negative thought process and redirect your attention to something more positive. As we grow up and mature into adults, we sometimes learn how to think in somewhat distorted and irrational ways. Sometimes we acquire irrational beliefs which distort our thinking. For example, we sometimes develop unrealistic expectations about ourselves or about others. If I begin to think that I must always do everything perfectly and never make any mistakes, what happens when I do make a mistake? I become very disappointed in myself. And if I begin to dwell upon how disappointed I am, I might end up making myself depressed. What leads to that in the first place? Well, it was a belief that I formed about myself that I must never fail. That's kind of an extreme belief, isn't it? After all, I'm human and I'm going to fail at certain things. If I hold on to a belief that I must never fail, I'm going to be continuously disappointed in myself and probably become depressed. A classic example of focusing on the positive instead of the negative is the way in which we choose to view ourselves and our value. This is sometimes called self-esteem, and it's very much influenced by whether we focus on the positive or focus on the negative. If I dwell on what's wrong with me, I'll probably end up with really low self-esteem. If, on the other hand, I dwell on what's right about me, I'll probably end up with really good self-esteem. This doesn't mean that I have to delude myself about my shortcomings. I'm aware that there are things about me which I don't necessarily like and would like to change, but I don't focus on those things. Instead, I place my focus on what I like about myself. If I do that, I end up with better self-esteem and I'm less likely to become depressed.
I really had to change the way I was thinking. Instead of focusing on what I didn't like about me, I began forcing myself to focus on what I did like about me. And the more I did that, the more I noticed I began to like myself and my depression became less severe.
It's important to begin looking for ways in which you think in these negative thought patterns. Making sure that you eat a healthy and nutritious diet will help you to feel better physically, and that can lead to feeling better emotionally. Foods which contain high amounts of omega-3 fats have been shown to help with avoiding and minimizing depression. Along with eating better, you may want to supplement your diet with some essential vitamins and minerals.
Eating better and taking vitamins really helps me quite a lot. I take a B complex vitamin and chromium, picolinate, and I also eat a lot more fish, which helps me get my omega-3 fats. And I'm finding that if I eat better, I feel better.
Depression is difficult, but by taking positive steps to help yourself, you can live a happy and functional life.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you'd like more recovery and mental health videos like this one, please feel free to visit our website at www.lifeonthereal.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out our recovery blog. You can also follow us on Twitter if you'd like. Our Twitter handle is @lifeonthereal1. Until next time, be happy and healthy.
If you've enjoyed this video, you may also enjoy our Don't Meth With Me video. Don't Meth With Me examines meth addiction and also examines what is needed to break free. This video, written and produced by a recovering addict, explains the withdrawal process, post-acute withdrawal syndrome, and long-term recovery from meth addiction in a practical and entertaining way. If you are recovering from a methamphetamine addiction or know someone who is, this video is a must-have. You may also want to watch for the upcoming release of our newest video, Walking Through Grief, A Journey to Wholeness. Walking Through Grief explains the grieving process and offers proven methods for coping with the loss of a loved one. Watch for it, it's coming soon.